If you're a Seridra main, then I feel bad for you because V3 just asserted that Seridra won't be a universal harmony unit, but instead she will be similar to a Jiaochu situation or even far worse than that. At least Jiaochu can be worked with other units, albeit he's not best in slot. Whereas for Seridra, she was claimed to be the wheelchair for Paynon, but instead, Paynon became the wheelchair for her because right now, Seridra is the least desired harmony unit, limited harmony unit in HSR. Her kit as a whole is just terrible outside from her, double skill meteor that you can get with Phynon. And the biggest issue with her kit is that it has to do with the lack of, cohesiveness. Like the kit just does not work with one another already. There's some sort of like, anti-synergy going on around, especially if you play it with other units. You can see the changes from here. V3 Seridra did gain like some buffs, I believe, or just purely only buffs. But these buffs only hammered in on being the Phynon support that she was claimed to be. Like the other units can't really make use of this other buffs except for Phynon. Like take for example here, when Seridra is in the deported state, the alt-type rest pen of the skill damage dealt by the character with peerage increases by 10%. Here's the issue here. Seridra has no other way to get into the deported state aside from, Phynon or maybe the Hule mechanic. So far, actively, Seridra, you can make use of this buff at all. Currently, there's no other characters outside of Phynon that can, depart their teammates, so only Phynon can make use of this. And if you look at the boss right here, it's all type press pen and skill damage only. So let's say that there's a future unit that can deport Seridra, but that unit's focus is not really on skill damage. So it's kind of eh. And this only happens one time, peerage right here, meaning it is only on the turn wherein you can have that, that double skill thing. So let's say in the future that there are allies or UDPS units that can make use of this, but their entire gimmick is not really on skill, then this is kind of awkward, right? Kind of a disgusting int, especially if you look at her E1 right here. This is basically two energy is not gonna mean anything. It's just gonna be for primarily Phynon, just to get him one extra stack of core flame. They're hammering down how Seridra should just be a Phynon unit. So if you don't have Phynon, don't pull for Seridra at all. If you have Phynon, then maybe consider an E2 because looking at Seridra's kit, it is definitely a Jiaochu situation. Now, to be fair to Seridra though, Jiaochu or Jiaoqiu, whatever you want to call him, currently is not that meta. He got instantly replaced by Cypher. He got instantly replaced by, Silver Wolf of all things, a 1.0 unit. And his current best in slot is Acheron. And, if your current best in slot unit is a DPS, then, well, that supports lifespan is only catered to that DPS. So similar situations to Seridra, if Finon does no longer get any more shilling, then Seridra's placement in the meta will also fall off. Now for me, I might be considering an E2 Finon just to ensure that my Finon is, retaining to be good until like 6x, and because I kind of like Finon's playstyle, having like one character as a boss kinda is fun. That's kind of it for me. But and the reason why skipping Seridra might be a valuable thing is because there's a lot of future units that people might like over Seridra, such as Polka Calcamond, March 7th. Maybe there's gonna be a 5-star. Who else? Maybe you want to pull for Hycelen. Maybe you want to pull for Constance on all these other units over Seridra. Right now, it is a valuable option because Seridra's kit is even worse than a 1.0 Harmony unit. We can see from here, it's like this has worse uptime than even Yukong's buffs, and Yukong is hard to play. Like she has sub DPS damage capabilities, and if you look from Seridra's here, it's like or she has two traces wherein she's like a sub DPS damage dealer, but there's nothing from her kit that suggests like she's gonna deal a lot of damage. Like there's an ultimate and her basic attack, and then there's her E6 right here, which has the additional wind damage, instance of wind damage, similar I think to Ting Yun. So maybe they made her kit with in mind with E6. And currently, that's the issue. The best way to fix her right now is to basically move her E6 and then lower the multipliers to base kit. That's kind of just it. Similar to how they did Hyson, just move her E1 to base kit. But so far, her pull value is extremely low. Don't pull for her unless you want to shill final because, let's be real, having a double skill is still sort of niche and really insane. Some may argue that there could be future buffs out there that would, let's say different buff multipliers like Respen, Defense Shred that Finon could make use of more of than like let's say a double skill. Because let's be real, maybe one of these days they might release a unit in the future that has, Seridra's kit mechanic or even allow double basic attack. Because Finon can still make use of his basic attack. It grants him like the Bruce thing for his extra meteor, right? So far, Seridra Seridra can be power creep really, really easily by, let's say, a generalist unit because so far there are generalist units out there that are far more valuable, can be slotted in team comps, and are far better than Seridra. So overall, I understand why people call her the most disappointing unit because right now she is similar to Farina, and then she ended up with the most disappointing kit in HSR right now. Hopefully, the devs listen. They fix her kit, just move her E6 into E0, just lower the multipliers. And that's it for me. Share your thoughts down below. What do you think about Seridra's kit? Does it need more fix? Are you okay with this? Are you gonna be pulling for her? Are you a fine on main? I just wanna hear your thoughts on this, V3 of Seridra's kit. With that comes the end of today's video. Make sure to leave a like, share, subscribe, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye bye.